Oh, that's a bit bright. Awesome. Good morning, good morning. A little bit bright in here this morning. Gonna try and correct that for you. Can everyone hear me? Hello, hello. Good morning, good morning. It's a very bright day here in Brampton, Ontario. Welcome if you are on the East Coast tuning in. It's your midday mobility break. Hello if you're on the West Coast and you are just starting your day. We are going to get into a Mobility Monday. Again, I appreciate it's really bright. There's a lot of light shining into my room right now. Hopefully you can see, hopefully you can hear. We're going to work a little bit on rotation today, especially with the upper back, the T-spine, an area that can get locked up so much with a lot of people. Hi everyone tuning in. Nice to see you all on this great, sunny, bright Mobility Monday. Going to turn the comments off in a second because I get really distracted with a lot of the comments that come in, although I much appreciate it. What we'll do is we'll leave any questions or comments you have till the end, and yeah, we'll get going. So let me just turn the comments off. Again, if you have any questions, insults, comments, anything you would like to send me, you can message me directly at Fascial Stretch Simon, or you can leave a comment on the post afterwards. But we're going to get going. So again, today we're working on a little bit of rotation. It's something that's often ignored with mobility. It's something that actually a lot of people tend to ignore when it comes to the mobility work, and it's something that we're going to work on a little bit today. So hopefully you can see me. I've tried to get a shot where you can see the most space possible. We can do a little bit of groundwork and a little bit of seated work today. But the first thing we want to do is start off with our intention, which is to restore a little bit of rotation in the T-spine and a little bit of relief for the low back as well for those that have that issue. So this can be, also to add, we may also need a small rod. I stole this from my broom, so there's a clue as to what you could do for that. If you have a dowel as well, that also works. So let's just do our check-in, our feedback loop, the thing that we always start with this one. We're just going to take a very basic shoulder width stance. We're just going to take a few nice deep breaths into our belly. Just see where our stance is at, how we feel weighted. We're going to do a gentle set of the shoulders just to set it back behind us and pull our shoulder blades down towards our hips. Take another deep breath into your stomach this time. And this time we're going to take a third into our stomach, a third into our mid-chest, and then we're going to inflate our chest just a little bit, just so we can get our shoulder blades back a little bit further. So we can take a breath in. And up. One more. And just gently pull the shoulder blades down. Now, the test we're going to do is going to involve rotation. So you're just going to bring your hands up to the midsection, and we are going to turn to our right, avoiding rotation from our hips and our low back, and just see how far you can go. You're going to turn back to the middle. We're going to turn to our left or your right, depends on which way you're looking at me. See how far you get. Now, what I'm going to do on the next breath is we're going to turn, and we're going to breathe nice and deep into our belly. And as you breathe out, see if you can gain a little bit more rotation, turn to your right. One more breath. See if you can get a little bit more rotation. We're trying to avoid turning from our hips. Okay to turn from your T-spine. That's anywhere basically above your rib cage. But we want to avoid using our low back to compensate. So again, start from middle position. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. When you hit a wall, when you stop, let's make sure that we're not rotating or turning our body right now. Let's take another deep breath in. Let's see if we can gain some more range. Deep breath into the belly. See if we gain more range. Let's see if you gain more range. So let's just do a check-in. A little bit more that side, that's great. And a little bit more, a tiny little bit more that side. Let's say I'm more stuck on my left-hand side. A really good indicator is whether you need to unlock your T-spine potential. Really important to have that rotation, that flexion, extension in the T-spine, because that's really going to help you if you're doing pressing or any movement where you have to really compensate with the upper back. So Second thing we're going to do, we're going to get on the floor with our foam roll because we actually want to work a little bit on building some mobility through that T-spine and actually unlocking the lower back just a little bit. We don't want too much mobility there. So let's come down to the floor and let's start with it at our low back today. And for this one, if you need to adapt your position because you have any issues with your low back, you can skip over this exercise and come back to it, and obviously the video will be posted afterwards. So we're going to start here. We're going to support ourselves, shoulders back, nice deep breath into the stomach. And I want you to imagine that you're trying to push that breath in all the way around, 360 degrees around your stomach into your low back. And as you breathe out, let's just start to relax ourselves over the foam roll. Again, if this is something that doesn't feel quite nicely, if it's something that let's say your doctor advised you against doing, or it feels painful, if you have any extension-based injuries for your low back, skip over it. Nice deep breath in. I'm going to finish around there. I'm feeling a little bit of a stretch there, which is great. And now we're just going to move down to the next section, which would just be foam roller in line with the bottom of your rib cage on the other side of your back. So deep breath in. We're going to extend back a little bit. We can bring our arms overhead if we need to. And from that position, what we're going to do is you can either have your hands up or across your chest, but we're going to rotate to our left side. Want to keep your arms about shoulder width apart. Bring it back to center. We're going to go to our right. Bring it back to center. Just going to reset my foam roller just so I'm in the middle of the screen still. Next part, we're going to move down one segment or two segments depending upon which position you feel tight, and we're going to repeat the same thing. So first thing to remember, we're hinging a little bit on that T-spine. So you can have your arms up. You can even, if you want to, as a step further, lift your hips just a little bit to get a little bit of downward pressure. Obviously, if you need to support your neck, you can do that too. A couple of foam bricks, or even do it with a head support, hand behind your head even, is good. Okay, so nice deep breath in. Hands up if you need to. Sinking down on the first breath, deep breath in. Shifting your arms back a little bit to seesaw that weight, open up that T-spine. And we're gonna either support our neck, or we're gonna just bring our chin tucked. We're gonna turn with our weight bias to our left side. Moving on the exhale, we're going to come back to the middle. We're going to breathe in, come back a little bit, back to center, breathe in, breathe out, biasing our weight to the right hand side. Okay, perfect. So now we're just at the top of the shoulders. Just one last reach back, just to see how far we can bring our arms back to center. Lift your hips if you want a little bit more weight. Okay? So again, that's just to lightly loosen up that T-spine before we do any rotation-based stuff. Really important that we gain mobility in our T-spine, because that's the area we need to be able to turn. We want a little bit of rigidity in our low back. We want nice stability there because the big lumbar vertebrae do the support of the weight for the most part. And then we want a little bit of mobility in the T-spine. So let's just do our check-in. Has that helped you from our feedback loop gain any more range? And again, making sure you're not moving your hips too much. I've gained a little bit more on my right. I have a little bit more work to do on my left. So let's go into a second variation of the stretch, one that you can do at your desk. So I have a broom handle here. It could easily be a dowel rod or something similar. So first thing to do, if you have a foam roller, great. Not ultimately required, but you can use a ball or you can use a foam block if you have one. But all we're doing is we're trying to block our hips from moving in this movement. So going to bring the dowel or broom handle to our chest, just crossing our arms over. You can even just do this with your arms crossed, to be honest. This is just more for demonstration purposes so you can see. So we're squeezing the foam roller. Okay, nice deep breath in. We're going to turn, making sure that we're nice and tall. And once we hit a roadblock, we're just going to lean a little bit. We're just going to lean, deep breath in. We're going to come back up again. We're going to deep breath in. And you gain a little bit more range this time. Deep breath in. Turn a little bit. So lean down. You see the broom handle kind of moving a little bit. Deep breath in. Turn a little bit. Deep breath in. And you'll start to find that as long as you keep this steady and stable, you should gain a little bit more range each way. Now, I already had a little bit of range to play with on my right hand side, so I'll be really interested to see what happens on my left hand side. Again, if you're looking at me directly, this might be the other way around. So we're going to take a nice deep breath in again. Importance placed on keeping your spine nice and tall, your head position tucked neutral, and shoulders back and down. So nice deep breath in, repeat that again. Deep breath in. On the exhale, we move as far as we can go. Deep breath into the belly. A little bit further. Let's now take a breath in and tilt down slightly. Take a nice deep breath in. Come back to center, breath in. Gain a little bit more range, squeezing that foam roller in between your legs and not letting it collapse side to side. Okay, nice deep breath in, everyone. Turn it down. Good. I've hit a roadblock there. That's good. So let's just do a check-in. Again, good on my right. A little bit better on my left. A lot better, actually. So that's fantastic. You can even combine these two movements if you want to. I've just shown you one variation, but when you get to here, you can even turn down and then try and turn, and that also works. I advise you just to play with the angles. Always move with your breath on this one, because the exhale often will lead to you unlocking that tissue between the ribs, the T-spine as well, and will give you a lot more range to play with. So, next one we're going to do a little bit of an unwind of the spiral line of tissue that kind of feeds through the body, because this can also help you open up that back and front. We're going to come down to the floor, really, really easy. Hopefully you can see me try to get the best angle possible, and hopefully the light's a little bit more favorable down here. So all we're going to do is lay, you've probably all done this stretch many times before. What we're trying to do here is we're actually trying to open up this spiral line that feeds across the front, down, into the lateral line as well, across the arm and chest. We're just going to naturally let our body weight work on this one, and I'm going to give you two variations, okay? So arm on my left hand on my left is going to come on my right leg. My other arm's going to come out as far as feels comfortable, pushing into the ground. I'm just going to take a deep breath in to my belly, and then see if my leg will come down. I'm just providing a little bit of tension on the leg to keep it down. Deep breath in. See if I can get more of a stretch. If you feel that your leg is not quite supported, I've got a little bit of a bonus for you. We're going to bring this foam roller across. We can also use that to keep the leg supported, because sometimes this external rotation of the leg can play on some people's hips. So if you're feeling a little bit pinchy, that's a good hack for you. So deep breath in. Rotating from the top out this way, and then I'm bringing my leg down a little bit. So let's see how that feels. That's also going to help feed into this T-spine, gentle rotation. Let's repeat the same thing on the other side. So let's just bring ourselves a little bit more centered. We can always start with a couple of our hip opener series that we've done on previous videos. If you want to play those back as well, that always works really well to open up the same angle. So again, don't want to be completely 90 degrees on this one if you can help it, but again, if you need a foam roller to support your leg because of the pinchiness in the hip, that also works too. I'm not going to do it so much on this side because I don't have as many issues, but we're going to bring our arm out, stretch into this back wall here. Take a nice deep breath in. And on the rotation, just add a little bit of pressure on this leg that's crossing your body. Put a bit of pressure on this side with this hand, pushing down to the floor. And then if you want to, as a bonus, let's add a little bit of distraction this way, trying to get our foot away from us if we can at the same time. So again, deep breath in, pushing down the hand, pushing the leg down, a little bit of distraction away. Awesome. Come back to center. Let's see how we did. Let's see if our T-spine is any better. Again, one thing to note, just a caveat actually, standing and seating positions with T-spine mobility can sometimes vary. It's not exactly the same because you are changing the tissue tension across your body. So this may not feel quite the same. You might feel more mobile. In a seated position, you might feel less mobile. So let's just do our check-in from a standing position, and then we're gonna, again, go back down to the floor. So this is just for reference. If you're already down on the floor, you don't want to get back up, you don't have to. But I'm actually a little bit better on my left-hand side than my right-hand side now. So a little bit of an interesting reversal there. So last thing we want to do is add a little bit of upper body rotation, kind of reinforce that range, if you will. So we're going to come into a cat-cow position, which a few of you yogis might have seen before. If not, the basic way to understand this is we're going to do an angry cat, a cow, or camel, whichever works for you. And then we're going to cut the difference into a neutral position. And the thing we're going to do here is we're actually going to do a little bit of rotation. We're going to do two variations. The first one I'll show you, again, with hand position, place it wherever you need to. Sometimes a foam roller also works to take the strain off your wrist, sometimes a yoga block. But find a neutral position for you, find a neutral spine position too. We're going to rotate to thread the needle. So we're just going to turn our body down, keeping this front arm straight, pushing our hand down to the floor. So nice deep breath in. See if you can get a stretch across that middle back. See if you get a rotation. Push that hand into the ground. Walk your hand across a little bit. Find a new position. Pushing that hand down into the floor. And let's come back to center. So that one's a really good one to work into for a while. You can keep this arm as straight as you can. You can bring your head more towards the floor, and that can add a little bit more tension in the middle of your back. Again, angle's really important with this one. So I'm gonna turn around the other way, just so you can see me. I'm gonna do the same thing. So find your neutral position, find a comfortable position for your wrists. We're gonna take a nice deep breath in. Gonna push down into the floor. I can definitely feel that in my middle back. I can feel that a little bit in my shoulder blade too, actually. So obviously a little bit bound up for me. Take a breath in. Gonna push that right arm, the hand that's on the floor right here, into the floor. Gonna push this hand in as well. And then just, you can sink your weight across to one of your hips if you need to as well. Awesome. Let's just see how we did. We can just do a little bit of a check-in with our shoulder blades too, just see how we feel. Second variation we're going to do a little bit more of a T-spine opener from the other side this time, and that's biasing rotation. So this is going to be the last one that we do for today, but we're also going to do a little bit of a check-in too. So again, hands are going to come down to the floor. We're going to bring our hand onto our neck this time. So again, really important that you find a good weighted position, a neutral spine. We're going to take a nice deep breath in. We're going to turn up to about 3 o'clock on our clock. So we're going to go. And again, always moving on that outwards breath. See if we can open up the rib cage. For some people, this can be a really, really good stretch for the rib cage. Really feel everything's bound up underneath into the serratus, teres major, etc., across the rib cage. All the tissue that sits in between the ribs themselves can stretch too. So again, pull your shoulder blades back and down. I'm going to do that one more time on this side, so nice deep breath in. And let's see if we can get a deeper stretch. Imagine that as you're pulling this way, or I should say rotating this way, you don't really want to pull it too hard, that you're pushing into the ground as well, creating some shoulder stability. Okay, nice deep stretch there. So I'm going to turn around again. I'm doing a lot of turning today, just so you can see me do this on my left side. So again, putting pressure into my right hand, going to place my hand on the back of my head with weight equal over my knees and my other hand. Obviously, again, if you need a foam roll or a yoga brick, feel free to do that. Deep breath in. First rotation just to see where we're at. Deep breath in. Pushing this right hand into the floor. And this time we're going to do 2 more. And the last one. We're just going to hold it a little bit longer. Excellent. Let's just do a check-in. You can see how you feel. Again, 3 positions you can check your T-spine mobility. We've done standing, seated. We can also do one kneeling. Just see what the major differences are with your mobility, because obviously tissue changes depending upon where you add that tension across your body. Tensegrity state of your body is going to change depending upon where you load your tissue. So a little bit better there, or the way around. Now let's see what we've got standing this time. So let's just turn. And turn. Excellent. Now feel free to go through that a few times. Often I find it's really helpful to do the foam rolling straight afterwards again, just to see if we can gain any more range in our T-spine. I also like to follow it with a number of breaths as well, because that's also going to help us to lock in that new range. Because if you're someone that has stressful job, anxiety, or is a chest breather, limitations can happen with T-spine mobility. So last thing I'm going to do is a little bit of a check-in with our breathing. So deep nasal breath in. Second breath, be really conscious of where you breathe. So now we're going to breathe into our belly. Next breath, we're going to add a little bit more to that midsection. So we're going to take a breath in. Hand on your belly, hand on your chest if you need to. That also helps, I find. And this time we're going to take a third of the breath into our chest as well. So we're going to go. And let's just see how we feel with our rotation. So we can even do a little bit more dynamic this time. Just see how that feels. I definitely feel a lot better. My T-spine feels way better than when I started, which is the exact result that we want. We want to feel a little bit more mobility. You should maybe also find that your low back feels a little bit better, because now we've restored that rotation, flexion, extension of the T-spine. Your low back can do its job in stabilizing your body. So, stabilizing your upper body, sorry. So, let's just turn the comments back on. Again, today's schedule, same as last week, got the fantastic Ino and Carol this afternoon. I am Simon from the personal training team. My handle is @FascialStretchSimon. Loads of really useful information resources. We're also taking on a lot of online personal training clients. Would love to hear from you about your personal experience with the stretch mobility program that we've been providing over the last few months. We want to make sure that we regularly improve it, so your feedback is really useful to us, and we love hearing from you. So again, Fascial Stretch Simon, see you again next week. Same place, same time. Hopefully the lights are a little bit more favorable, as it has been today as well. And if you have any questions, again, just reach out and we'll speak to you soon. Thanks so much. Have a great week.